So after our session yesterday, we made some improvements with Doug online, and we went through the JSON that he had built, and then Joanne had provided updated coaching on the JavaScript. So at this point we have the MakeyMakey practice URL with added JavaScript for WASDFiG, which is a connection board for the MakeyMakey. In this case, you may be able to see it in the alternate camera, which have things plugged in here. So this is an extension board that allows connections to the panels on the back and allows us to extend the MakeyMakey beyond what you see on the faceplate to 6 additional connections. In this case, we have them actively plugged in to our arcade style board, and this allows us to capture input from these colored buttons and the 2 buttons here on the bottom. At this point, we're not using joystick input, and we're not using our smaller button input up there. We're just using these 6 buttons across the top, which correspond somewhat to coloring that is shown on the board. So I've got orange, red, green, black, yellow, and white. In this case, white and gray are attached to the blue button, and this allows us to get input from that button. Pretty much the other 3 color buttons are color coded. The red goes to red, the green goes to green, and the yellow goes to yellow. You'll see that each of those is paired. So we have 2 connections on the bottom of each button, and they're going to 2 places on the board, one being earth or ground and one being the active terminal. So this is actually a shared terminal. The earth or ground is actually a shared terminal. Don't need to get into too much detail there. The other thing you can see here is I've got pigtails coming out from the blue button, and the gray wire and the orange wire are connected in a different fashion. So I have the alligator clips connecting to these pigtails because there's actually attachments that came with the button, so I wanted to try that out and see what the wiring differential was like. So at this point, I'm also doing the screen recording. I can sort of zoom out a bit manually and see what we can get. So I'm going to move this recording. I'll move the web page over a bit here, and we'll do our first test. We're going to start with blue. One other key important fact, the USB must be plugged in. So I did that to make sure you're able to see the test lights come on. So I'll see if I can get that up in here in the image. So you're seeing the MakeyMakey board come on live and come testing. You can see a reflection of the red button that shows that power is being received to that board. And never mind what I said earlier, now we are ready for our test. So I'll hit blue. And this tells me I hit the W key. So in this case, you'll actually see a light activate. I think it's at this end of the board for these connections. I'll hit, and actually I need to confirm that and close it. So at this point, we're in a testing mode with the JavaScript. It puts up a dialog after each one. So that's the A key. So in this case, I'm actually needing to make notes. Blue was the W. Red was the A key. And if we continue on, I believe the green is going to be our S. So we see S is hit on in the JavaScript dialog. So we'll say green. And then click close. Looks like I got it twice. And then at this point, we're hitting the left bottom button. Which is G. Let's see what the yellow does for us once I click close. Yellow is the F key. Again, we may have gotten that a few times. And it looks like our bottom right button is going to be the final one, which is our D key. So I need to clear these off. There we go. So I'm clearing off all those messages. I'll hit the bottom right key, or the bottom right button on the arcade board. We hit the D. At this point, I'm going to set the camera, stabilize it, and unfortunately I think it needs to face me this way. I'm just dragging through here and finding MakeyMakey, page 5. There we go. So I made a keys RDF document that shows us where each key is getting hit from each color. Sorry, I put it to the background immediately. And this just validates which ones we're getting where. The other thing I want to do here while we're working through this, I'll move this back out of the way here and pull forward on the learning record store. And we have JavaScript confirming that we have been sending messages from our arcade board through the MakeyMakey into the computer. This is a chance for us to validate that our JavaScript has activated the XAPI library and sent statements into the XAPI learning record store at Stormcloud. So you can see here that the last one I sent was Anna Johnson incorrectly selected question 27. That is actually aligned with the blue button, the W key. So we should see a double of that as well as the other buttons. So when I pull this on, and so I can scroll through it here, we can see the last thing I clicked was D. I hit F a few times. I have a G, an S, an A, W, and then Anna Johnson incorrectly answered question 27. So there were a few clicks on there. Let's go ahead and send that again and see if we got the right one. Oops. I'm realizing I have to pull our web page forward to do this. And then hopefully that comes out on top. For some reason it's not sending that message. Huh. I see. Okay. So I'm realizing I'm looking at the server version, which is duckworks.biz. So I did get all of this code up there. I did not get JSON for context up there. So I need to go back to this location, refresh it, and now I'll send the W key. We should see the same confirmation. This is actually the local host running off the computer I'm running on here. And then if I hit refresh after that, we do get Anna Johnson. So I haven't quite published the code like I thought I did. I need to update the JavaScript file on the web server. One of the things that this Stormcloud allows us to do by clicking on that statement, we can extend it. We can validate that the JSON has been published. So again, we have our standard actor verb object. Object is a little further down, but we have some added values of context in here. So we wanted to point out that we've added in activities, categorized the activities, included an instructor name, and as I scroll down, you can actually see team, platform, And again, timestamp and stored and authority are pretty standard elements. But here's the object section down here. So within the verb, we have actually extended out some of the context and made that information available through the reporting features that are in the different learning record stores. This Doug was able to draft this JSON and publish it up to our Slack channel, and he said that it is validated in I believe it was the XAPI Labs, so I'll have to double check where that was. And that sort of concludes where we're at right now. So we've been able to validate that, just as a recap, we've been able to validate that our MakeyMakey board is in communication with the buttons on our arcade style response board. I'm getting a little glare there, so I'm messing with the camera. So here's our arcade style response board, and then the MakeyMakey board has been extended to allow these additional connections. And once we were able to make those connections today, I've been able to validate with you online here that our MakeyMakey HTML file and JavaScript file are able to send the context information that we need. So thanks for watching.